Hi, Zizaran here with another build guide, and this is a Bone Zone Juggernaut. Whatever you do, don't tell Karn that you're playing something else than Slayer with Bone Zone, but Boneshatter is an absolutely incredible build. It comes online so fast and is a little intimidating for new players because this does not level up and you get damage from leveling the skill gem. Instead, you actually need to upgrade the weapon. So if you're not comfortable with crafting and getting a good weapon, this might not be the good build for you. And another bit of a downside is it can fall off a little bit for some people on like uber pinnacle bosses in damage. So I don't like it for doing those bosses. And for newer players, it even might fall off on things like Eater and Exarch a little bit. But that being said, this is something that we do see do very well in races. It is an absolutely amazing build, but you do need to know how to craft. So I just want to have that as a warning out there for you that want to play Bone Zone or the start of the league. If watching these videos helps you have a good league start, please consider subscribing to the channel as it helps me and my team a lot. Start out leveling with ground slam and everything is grouped into different skill sets. We do this so that it's easy to follow and that you don't end up with a bunch of gems that you're not supposed to be using. And then you can do Sunder as soon as you get level 12. For playstyle for this build, you are generally running around and right-clicking monsters down. And we are using two totems in this build. So you have one with Ancestral Protector and one with Ancestral Worship. Both give you a buff, so keeping both up at bosses is very good. Obviously, very annoying on bosses like Shaper. They'll constantly take out your totems, but you'll notice a big fall off when you don't have these on. You also have Berserk to use your Rage. That'll give you a big buff to burst things down. Do be a little careful whenever you're getting Acceleration or an Echoing Shrine, because you can pretty easily kill yourself to the trauma buildup. So be very careful of that. You don't want to like take yourself out, especially if you're playing on hardcore. While attacking, try to like move in a circle around the boss. Like don't just stand still and face tank. You are actually very face tanky, but it's always good to keep a little movement in. As normal, we're using Path of Building. If you don't know how this works, we do have a video and you can check that out. And we're doing everything step by step as per normal. So it's very easy to see how you're starting out. And the Ascendancy points are baked into this as well. The Cruel Mercury Lab, etc. Juggernaut has a lot of benefits. It's so tanky. It's a lot like harder to like kill yourself to the trauma. You kind of debuff yourself and end up taking a lot of damage. But obviously we get a lot of like tank back. So it's a very good build for Boneshatter. It gets a lot of resists and stuff like that. You can see at the end game we have 81. Just absolute powerhouse of a build. And sometimes you'll see like Karn, etc. in tier 16s just 10-15 hours into the league, right? Not every build can do that. And we can look over here at like the map setup. Now we're switched over to Boneshatter. Fortify, Ruthless, Close Combat, Brutality, and Melee Physical. Generally, gems are linked in order of importance as well. At the end game, we're using Determination, Warbanner, Pride, and Blood Rage. Keeping your totem up is very important. Is a bit of an annoying thing in the build because it does give you such a huge buff. So you do want to keep that up. In the items, we have, this is what it looks like early. Remember the recipe for a blue or yellow rustic sash with a blacksmith whetstone and a weapon will give you this. And that's more than enough early on. Obviously, if you find like Contempt Essence and throw that on a weapon and actually hit percentage physical, that is huge. And remember to make good use of your crafting bench. Number one tip I can give you for league start is remember that you can craft resists on white items. So early on, we care more about socket pressure than getting like crazy double or triple resist items. Then we have different sets for the early game and mid game. As soon as you're able to get flat fizz and percentage fizz on a good item, and we're normally looking at axes here, especially with high attack speed, Despot Axe ending up being the good one. For crafting, keep in mind, I think it's item level 73, then 78, and then 83 are the three breakpoints. 83, the final one. So you want to be able to hit Flaring, you want to be able to hit Merciless, and then you're good. Other than that, pretty straightforward on the gear. It's a lot of life, resist, and suppression. And you can see that we're not using any crazy uniques. But that being said, I do want to say, again, you do have to do a lot of crafting on this build and really understand what makes a good axe. So, Despot Axe, you want high flat fizz. And to figure out the damage, like the DPS calculation, you can just Control C, Control V into Path of Building. You don't need to do any third-party mod for that. It'll just show up here and that'll calculate it for you. But you could also just do, so here, the physical damage would be 382 plus 583 divided by 2 and multiply by the attack speed, so 1.72, and that would give you 829.9. Make sure you go for a really high PDPS. Physical damage is the name of the game. You don't really care if it's got like a bunch of lightning or fire damage or even chaos damage. It's not important for this build. Another thing that's changed recently is that we have a new life mastery that is 15% increased maximum life if there are no life modifiers on equipped body armor. This is really good for a Juggernaut because it means as long as you don't have anything tagged with life, so no life regen, no flat regen, anything, nothing with the word life in it when you hold alt, you can get a crazy high armor chest, and that gets doubled from Juggernaut. So very, very worth. You can see here we have 3.3k armor, and yeah, you take it off to show you real quick. We're going from 84,000 armor to 32,000. So a huge amount of defense from that. So keep that in mind when you're crafting a chest. Getting a jewel with physical attack damage releases mana is huge and will generally like keep your mana up. If you look at the jewel here, we have avoid being shocked. We also have avoid being shocked implicit here. And then we have thick skin, and this makes us shock immune, which is huge. If you go to the notes here, there are a bunch of different information, like why not Slayer. Slayer is still a great choice, and we see that do very well in races. How to talk mana issues, etc. Precise technique, I do want to mention this and how it works. You need to have more accuracy than your life. So if you have 2,000 life, you need to have 2,001 accuracy, or you don't get the 40% more damage here. So keep that in mind. Very, very important that you know that how this works, because it's 40% damage, huge more multiplier. Very important that you don't fuck that up. So just as a quick little extra, because crafting is so important for this build, I'll do like a little quick example of what we normally do. So we'll make it rare first, and then honestly, I love crafting with essences. Harvest is very popular too. We'll go do essence here, and then we're doing contempt. Now, obviously, if you are spamming essence on the map device and you have a lot of deafenings, that's great, right? Because once you have deafening, all you need to hit is either hybrid or a good percentage physical roll, and you've got a pretty good one. Even just hitting attack speed early on. But you're most likely going to be using like tier 2 or 3, so that's shrieking or screaming early on. But a lot of the time, I've just been spamming deafening essences. So to get a lot of those, you're basically upgrading things that you don't really care about, and then doing the in the Hoardy crafting bench, you can swap a stack of essences. So I would swap like 9 deafening sorrows and hope that it hits like, you know, greed, contempt, anything that's actually good. Now, let's see. I'm just going to remove the physical leech there so I can like give you guys a little bit of a crafting tip. The hybrid here, you can craft actual percentage fizz on top of that. Now, obviously, there are higher physical rolls you can get, but this now would be 130. And I'll see if I can actually quickly find an actual good hybrid roll. This is an example of a really, really good starter weapon. So it's got 19% attack speed and okay hybrid. So let's say that I spend the 1 XL to craft this. This is now 770 PDPS already. And it wasn't a crazy amount of contempts at 19. So 770 PDPS, definitely good enough to kill a lot of the early bosses. When you look at Harvest as well, so here we're using Reforged Physical, which I think uses yellow juice, which is very precious, but we see a lot of good weapons come from this. And again, early on, even if all you get is like attack speed and flat physical and then crafted percentage physical, that is generally pretty okay. So the last option would be alteration spamming. You generally have so much better things to use alterations on that I don't recommend this. But alteration spamming until you get flaring, tempered, merciless, tyrannical, any of those like high percentage fizz rolls, generally what people are looking for. That's like a quick crafting guide. So yeah, we're just looking for high percentage fizz rolls, and you see here, PDPS. It is a bit of a pain to craft, but very, very worth it once you get a good weapon. Hope you guys enjoyed this build guide. If it helps you out at League Start, please consider subscribing. And also, we do have the new membership feature if you want to go the extra mile. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for watching the build guide. Sub if you liked the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do.